a pleasant good Wednesday evening. I'm Chase Miller, and welcome to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show as presented to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. This week on the program, we'll talk with Hankinson Pirates boys basketball coach, that is Carter Mauch, as the Pirates, a top 10 ranked team in Division B basketball in North Dakota. Also, Goodridge Grygla boys basketball head coach Andrew Sundberg will be joining the conversation as well. From there, Hannah Johnson and Hawley Dances will have the Section 4A dance tournament in Hawley on Saturday. We'll get a preview of that with the Nuggets, and then we'll hear from Braaten of the Carrington girls basketball team picking up a big win last night against Devils Lake. From there, Jason Brend of the Thompson Tommy's girls basketball team will join the conversation, and our senior spotlight this week, we head to Hatton-Northwood. That's the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show here today as we get right into our conversation with Carter Mauch. Join us now from the Hankinson Pirates perspective here, talk a little Division B boys basketball across the state of North Dakota. That's their head coach and Carter Mauch. And Carter, crazy to think even on the B side with boys hoops, you're kind of one of the last teams to get going in terms of A, double A, and B. And now you're already at the midway point of the season, the back half as we get ready to turn the calendar over here to February. So, 10, 11 games in so far in the season here. Carter, as you get ready for Thursday and Friday, a little doubleheader coming up, what do you just like best about your team up to this point of the season before you really get ratcheted up with District 1 basketball play here in the next couple weeks?
Yeah, ultimately, the first thing I got to mention is, the boys they're bought in this year. They're really bought in. They're really bought in, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We've only been giving up, 43, 44 points a game. Gave up a little more to Oaks the other day, but Oaks is a salty squad. But all in all, really impressed with the way that we're playing defense and, even scoring the basketball. We're scoring in the high 60s, low 70s a lot. And, obviously a lot of that's going to come from Rayshawn. But, we've had other guys, we have two other guys in double digits and numerous other guys that are scoring 5 to 7 points a game. So for us to have that all around, cohesiveness and, unselfishness, kind of play. It's been really good to see, and I'm really excited and happy, to go forward and see what else we can get going.
What, as a coach, are you looking forward to kind of this stretch of basketball here, back-to-back games? You don't get that a lot throughout the course of the season, but you got Wilmot coming up on Thursday, then you head to Sargent County. You'll have the game on YLE coming up on Friday night, but it kind of feels like almost a taste of what a month from now will feel like in the tournament. Is that how you kind of view it as a coach once you get to these back-to-backs in the season?
Yeah, for sure. And we haven't had one of those yet. We've only had 10 games or 10 or 11 games here. We haven't had any of those back-to-back. We didn't play in the Barnes County tournament. We didn't have too many, or, we didn't have any tournament style games over break. So, this is really our first true back-to-back. Just, see how the boys can respond, after a full game of basketball on a Thursday night. And then, going to Gwinner and playing a district opponent in Sargent County on Friday, just kind of see how the boys can react and how their legs are going to be, in a month. And I'm just really excited for the next 2 nights here, and hopefully we can come out with a win on Thursday and see what happens Friday.
Mentioned Rayshawn Earl before we got going, over 1,000 career points. He did a lot with the record books, talking with, Coach Moneylaws there in football as well. So when you get a caliber of an athlete like that, number one, what does he do for the team just in general, outside of the obvious of scoring and putting the ball in the hoop here? But what does it mean to see someone like that put the work in to get rewarded, whether it is, a 1,000 career points or having an opportunity to be on an all district, all region, an all state caliber kind of a player here, Carter?
Yeah, I've talked about it a lot. He's obviously a tremendous basketball player, really good football player. I think he'd be really good on the track field too. I don't think that's his thing. He likes to do the AAU basketball gig, which is good. Good for him. Glad he's doing stuff. But he's a tremendous human being, really good teammate. Not very vocal, but he's a really good leader by example. Doesn't always let the moment get too high. Doesn't let the moment get too low. And he's just real good guy for our guys, to watch and try to, be like. And, he's one of the only, or he's probably, I won't see one of him in a long time. Not many guys get to see a kind of player with the talent of Rayshawn. And, luckily I've had him, the first 2 years here of my boys coaching career, and, just trying to enjoy the moments now and see how things will go the rest of the year. So
As we go through, to bring up a couple of seniors with Andrew Jean, with Mr. Blado there. Also, you got Eli. Just if you want to speak to them, individually here, Carter, speak to them as a group. Just kind of what do they kind of represent? Obviously, the success that you had last year with them as juniors coming back as seniors. What does the senior class just mean to this year's version of Pirate basketball?
Yeah, well, first thing I'll talk about, talking about Rayshon being the more lead by example kind of guy. Andrew's the opposite. Well, Andrew will lead by example, but Andrew is our true vocal leader. He's the guy that's going to be he's the guy that's leading them in huddles. He's the guy that's leading the breaks, the breakdowns, and his basketball talent has really improved in the last few years. I remember when I was coaching the girls and he was a freshman. He got brought up to the varsity squad late in the year. And, he maybe only had 2 or 3 varsity games that he was a part of, as a deep bench kind of guy. And then all of a sudden his sophomore year, he started from day one. So he's pretty much been a starter for us the entire, his entire career. And he's only gotten better. His post moves down low have gotten better. And one thing I really like about Andrew is he really rebounds the ball exceptionally, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Our first game against Weimar Lidgerwood, he had probably 22 points or something. And I want to say he had 14 rebounds and 10 of them were probably offensive rebounds. So, he's just a go-getter. Obviously a real good basketball player. And I'm glad to have him on my team, or on our team. Matthew Blado has taken a huge leap from last year. He was kind of our 8-9 guy off the bench last year. He was our free throw guy if we needed him at the end of the game. And now he's playing almost every minute that he can. And he's really improved his shooting from a year ago, knocking down corner 3-pointers. But he's improved his strength as well. And that's something that he knew he needed to improve on going into the year. And he's done that. And, he's our 3rd leading scorer right now. And he's doing a lot of good things. And Eli's our 3rd senior. Eli is a really, really, really good leader. Eli is what you want in a team player. He doesn't see the floor as much as some of these other guys. He'll get in there every now and then, but when he's in the game, he's going to give you 110%. And more often than not, when he comes in, he's going to knock down a 3-pointer, just not expecting it. He just comes in there, knocks down a 3-pointer, knocks down a bucket when we need him. And he just works hard. And, those 3 seniors, I'm extremely glad to have them, proud of them. I love those guys and just excited for, the last half of their, senior career. And hopefully we can go into the postseason making a little bit of noise. And, those guys will be the leaders of that. So.
How much this year have you had to talk about the districts to regions to state? I know, last year was the first time in about a decade that we've talked about, where there was the super region, everybody gets there. You had to play into maybe get to the shack or get to the Blickery to feel like you were part of the 8 teams that were in the tournament. But now there's 9. You get a playing game, then the rest are, making their way to either Valley City or Wahpeton here over the last season and this year. So how much was that a conversation last year? And did you really have to talk or explain it to the guys this year, Carter, coming back and saying, hey, districts are what really matters. You can go 0-10 to start the year, but if you start rounding off 3-4 district games, you can be a 2 seed in the district tournament and set yourself up for the region. So how much have you had conversations like that with the boys?
Yeah, the boys have had, that experience. Obviously we would have liked to play a few more nights at regionals, but they had that district tournament experience. Obviously we were fortunate enough to win the district last year. So a lot of those guys have that experience. They know what districts are all about. I'm a little bit excited to get back to the Blickery in Wahpeton. That's where when I played, we played all of our district tournament games in there. And so I'm excited to get back there and see that atmosphere. And obviously that's just step 1 in our goal, but that's being able to build and win some district games here, get ourselves, a top 4 seed or so, going into the tournament and then, stringing together 3 good games there and, see what happens after that. So yeah, just goal 1 is to just be hot by the time tournament season rolls around, and then anything can happen. So
As you go through this here, Carter, has it been easier? Year number two with the three divisions, has scheduling been about the same? I mean, I know everyone's in a different neck of the woods, so to speak, when it comes to travel or how long you guys going to Ellendale or Edgerly Cullum or Napoleon compared to a Sargent County or Maple River, Enderlin. Everyone's a little bit different. Sometimes you get some South Dakota or maybe Minnesota teams in your schedule. So how's everything gone from that point, from year number one to year number two? Has it been about as seamless as you could possibly get to it, or is about as normal as it was in the old Class B ways?
I would say so. Yeah. We're fortunate, to have a few, South Dakota teams we can play, to the south of us, TS Bazina, we've played Wilmot, Waverly South Shore's got a salty squad down in South Dakota. And, we have Wahpeton, Class A Wahpeton, towards the end of the season. We've also got Henning, Minnesota, who's a top team in Minnesota. We play them at the Moorhead Breakdown in about a month or so here now. And then we've also got Fargo Davies JV as of now in the NDSCS Bonanza. So obviously, trying to get our boys as tournament ready as we can. And I think those three teams will be real good, real good for us, real good, competition for us, so they can see how the competition and how it's going to be once we do come tournament time. So I'm pleased to have those three games towards the end of our season. So
final thing for me before I let you go, Carter. Weimar, Lidgewood, Tri-State, some of that old District 1, back when it was District 1, District 2, and Region 1 with what the old Class B was before. We're now at 4 different regions, but able to see some photos throughout the year. Packed crowd, really good environment. What's it like coaching in it, but what was it like for you playing in those games, and what does it mean for people that maybe aren't in southeastern North Dakota that just don't understand what, Hankinson, Weimar, Lidgewood, Tri-State, those respective schools, those all mean to each other when you kind of get a taste of that. Obviously, it brings up the intensity, whether you're a fan, if you're a player, or anything in between. But what do those particular games when you get to see them on the schedule?
yeah, I love those games. Obviously, Weimar Lidgewood's our big rival, so we've already got the chance to play them twice this year. And the first game was game one. The crowd wasn't as good as I would have expected, but we got the chance to play them about 2 weeks ago at home. And it was just packed. I mean, it was packed, and it was tough to find a seat if you were coming in with the family of 4 or 5. You could probably find a seat if it was you and one other person, but it was packed. The environment's just so nice to see. Throughout the two teams. Both student squad or student sections are loud, and that's kind of why I like the Hankinson gym, is because the benches are on the opposite side of the fans, so you can't really, or so you don't have to listen to the fans, and it's a little bit quieter over there. But the environment that night was pretty electric, and those are the small Class B games that make Class B what it is. So no, those are some fun ones to be a part of, playing when I did play, and then obviously now coaching. So
hey, Carter, as always, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to seeing you, and thanks so much again for the opportunity, and we'll talk with you down the line.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Chase.
That again, Carter Mauch, head coach for the Hankinson boys basketball team.
Our coaches show continues on here. I'm joined by Goodridge Grygla head coach Andrew Sundberg. And coach, you guys just got a win against BGMR. Before that, a pretty lengthy losing streak, but you got a young team, but it must feel good to get over that hump, get that losing streak out of the way, and pick up a win.
Yeah, absolutely. We needed that bad. We were, like you said, I think 7 games in a row. And to be honest with you, 5 of those games at least, we had very legitimate chances to win. So we've been close a lot. So it was good to win. And it wasn't an easy game. BGMR played very well. So we had to make plays at the end. And yeah, it was good to break the streak.
Yeah, you mentioned it during that losing streak. A lot of close games at Northern Freeze and then Clearbrook. You were close with Roseau, but you got a young team. So all those moments, learning experience for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've talked about a lot about what you just stated. This is the first time a lot of these kids have played, all of them, honestly, played a lot of varsity minutes. And we've played really well in stretches, but end of games, we just have had either some bad breaks or, make some really untimely mistakes. Those 3 that you talked about were were tough because at Freeze we lost in overtime. They made a 3 at the buzzer to send it to overtime. Clearbrook, we were up by 1 with a minute left, and Braaten, their stud player, made a really good play at the end and got in the lead. And then we didn't make a 3 at the end that would have tied it. And then Rosa, we lost on a buzzer beater too. It was tied. So, it wasn't just close losses. It was like rip your guts out losses. They were tough to swallow, but we try to keep it in perspective. We're competing pretty well with these teams that are more experienced than us. And like you said, hopefully learn from these mistakes we made at the end of games and try to keep improving as the year goes on.
Well, there's no doubt you graduated a bunch of talent from a year ago in Lewis Jones and Rick Locke and Carson Robishko. But for you as a coach, is it kind of fun getting the young guys into your varsity program and kind of molding them now for years to come?
Absolutely it is. Coaching last year's seniors group was really special and it was a lot of fun. But, that's the way it works. Kids grow up and they move on. And these kids that are in the program now, their work ethic has been really good, and they've done a good job of keeping their heads up. Like I said, we've had some disappointing outcomes lately, but they show up ready to work and wanting to get better each day. So I think that bodes well for the future.
Well, you got the Northern Freeze again tonight. You get them in your gym in Grygla, and it was a close game. The game before, you said an overtime loss. So a winnable game here. Try to get a 2-game winning streak on your guys' belt here.
Yeah, we hope so. Freeze is playing very good basketball right now. I think they were struggling a little bit going into the game, and then I think when they beat us, they went on like a 5 or 6 game winning streak. So they're playing good ball. They have some good young players too. So we know we can compete with them, but we're gonna have to play well. They play very well together, physical. They play good defense. So it should be a fun game.
And then later in the week on Thursday, you guys come down the road to Lincoln High School. A cool matchup between the two teams, and mental health awareness night. I believe this is the 3rd one that we're doing. The first year was in Thief River Falls, then it was in Goodridge, and now back in Thief River Falls. Just talk about the two communities kind of coming together for a good cause in mental health awareness, and really a fun game when these two teams meet up.
Yeah, it is. It's, like you said, it's a really, really good event, the Mental Health Awareness Night, that a lot of people behind the scenes do a lot of work on. And it's fun to be a part of that and what it stands for. It's something that most people have their ups and downs. So it's good to bring awareness to it. And as far as playing Thief River, they've given us a lot of problems. I mean, 2 years ago, they were loaded and we had a pretty good team too, but they took it to us. Last year, we had a very good team, and they just, the way they play and their length and athleticism has given us issues in the past, and they have a good team again this year. So we're going to have to play really well that night. But the kids always are excited to play Thief River. It's a close game, and it's still kind of a new thing to us getting to play them. It's only the 3rd year, and we've never played them prior to that. So the kids hopefully will be up for it, and hopefully we can compete with them.
Well, Coach, it's always a pleasure catching up with you, and I'll catch up with you a little bit more on Thursday before the game. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Hey, thanks a lot, James. Thanks for having me on, and we'll see you Thursday.
Thanks.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits, including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Don't be fooled by that beat-up old cap. Its faded crown represents the tireless work of America's farmers and ranchers. Its sturdy brim, their dedication to providing our nation with a safe, affordable food source. So we'd like to tip our hat to them. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting those that protect America's food source.
Visit with Ryan Opdahl, your local Farmers Union Insurance agent in Hillsboro.
Growers, prepare your fields and yields against the wet conditions for 2025 and beyond with a drain tile project from Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. Drain tiling will improve and increase your yields and land values for years to come. Chad's Excavating provides free, detailed estimates, and with over 40 years of combined success, they provide professional installation and service. Call Chad today to prepare for your future and any questions that you might have. That's Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, an opportunity to talk Hawley dance with Hannah Johnson, co-head coach of the Hawley dance team, jazz and high kick. And we are excited about the section dance meet for Section 4 coming up here this Saturday in Hawley. And Hannah, let's talk about it right out of the gates. Just to start, your background in dance and how many years you've been with the program at Hawley.
Sure. So my background, this is actually my 10th year coaching, which is like really crazy to say and think about, but it is my 3rd year with Hawley. I used to coach for the Lac-Barrel Valley Dawson-Boyd Shadows for about 7 years. And then I took a little bit off because I had a child and I was commuting because my husband and I had moved to the area. And I used to teach in Moorhead schools, and I decided I loved Hawley, and I wanted for my daughter's future in education to come out here, and said, hey, if you need help with dance, I have a background. And they're like, yeah, that would be great. So started here, and this is my 3rd year. And we have just something really awesome going here with the coaches too, and the girls in the community. So it's been awesome.
And it showed here this last week again, hosting the Invitational and seeing the type of support you had at home, which I know you were expecting to have a good crowd, but I thought it was a really nice crowd. See that support, and people were very interested, and they got a show.
Yeah. It's been really, really cool to see like the community just kind of understand dance more. You and I have said that too. Like if you don't know the dance world or have a tie to it, it's hard to know what that entails and what it looks like. And so it's been really neat to see, especially over these past few years with the team's success and them working so hard. The community is really, starting to understand it, and they are so supportive. The other co-head coach, Erin Christensen, she runs the Just for Kicks program, which is like the feeder program too, to come into this. So we're getting a lot of girls joining that too. So it's just, there's a big community of support around dance here now. So it's really exciting.
Very important. And they should get on board because like you said, not only the coaching staff, but you've got a program that, last year at state and has had success before, but really is a program that's ready to make a run again.
Yeah. We really are. We're really excited and working really hard. And we already had morning practice this morning. So we were up in here at 5:45 and we're putting in the hours. And we have big goals for Saturday. So hoping to put our best dance out there and hopefully make that trip again.
We're going to talk about that. I wanted to get this out there for people because this is again, is just kind of the way that it is for dance. Unless there's ample space for everybody to have space. When can you get the gym? Because there's basketball and basketball and basketball and wrestling and basketball. It's so 5:45. You guys get there and get going. That is commitment.
Yeah, there's a doubleheader tonight for basketball, and so we are pretty lucky. They've been great with us here too. We love the elementary gym. Sometimes we're in the field house too, but when you have those things, you kind of figure out where can you get the time. And so we have morning practice today and tomorrow. So it's commitment, but the girls are committed and want to do it. So it's awesome.
That's right. And you're very lucky too at Hawley that there's a lot of gym space. Some teams will have to relegate themselves to a cafeteria or somewhere else where they can make space.
Our JV is in the cafeteria. So yes. Yep. We know that.
It's all part of the deal. Glad that we could share that. Cause again, unless you know, it's what it is. So Hannah, with this, let's start with jazz. I think typically order, right? Jazz usually goes first in the lineups.
Correct. Yep.
So with the jazz routine, when you look back on this year's team, jazz routine, have they been working on just one the entire year? Do they have multiple? How does that work?
Great question. So we choose the song and we're doing The Man by Taylor Swift, and we have one song, one routine. However, that routine changes a lot during the year based off feedback from coaches, but especially the judges that we get. You bring your routine, and if you're seeing scores a certain way, you're like, oh, we got to get this difficulty of transitions or difficulty of formations changed. We got to level it up a little bit more. You're constantly changing it. So going into sections, you have your routine pretty solid and pretty solidified, and you're not making changes now, but it is evolving all through the year. So it's kind of funny. I tell the girls at sections, it's kind of interesting to look back to that first one and see just how much of the routine has changed.
Big deal. And again, for those parents or fans that are at everyone, they'll see that. They'll be able to make a difference. And you bring up a good point too with the judges, because you see different judges, and you see some that are similar. I mean, I'm sure there's some that rotate, but their involvement really does help shape a state team.
Correct. Yep. And their feedback in like taking that and looking, how did we score up against this team or this team? And, oh, they had a little bit more of this. Okay, we got to up our ante in that difficulty here, And so it's a constant feedback and adapting our routine to be that level that we need to be a state competitor.
Now, choreographers, who are the main choreographers for this year's jazz team?
So mainly it's the girls with the coaches, but we do have a good group of seniors, but they do it with us. So it's all of us together kind of working and creating and adapting. And, especially as coaches, we're like, okay, we have this idea, try this, or they have an idea. And sometimes you try it and it works. And sometimes you try it and you're like, oh, that didn't work. But that's all part of the process.
For the high kick, same type scenario here. What's the high kick routine been like?
Oh, so fun too. That one is Star Walking. We kind of say Star Walking, but by Little Nas, and it is such a fun routine. Definitely something these girls haven't done before. A little bit of hip hop in it too. But it's been really fun for the girls and they're really getting into it. Really good message in it too for the girls, like be your own leader, be your own legend, like let's go do this. So they really get pumped up for that one too. And same thing with the choreography with the seniors mainly and the coaches. And that's been a really fun routine for us.
The difference between jazz and high kick, for those who have no idea, the way I explained it was jazz, more interpretation. High kick, you have to reach a certain level of kicks, amongst other things. So maybe you can tell more and be more precise.
Yeah. So for jazz, there's different like basics, right? Like you have to have a pirouette, which is a turn. You have to have so many you have to have a leap that you have to do. And then you have to have so many, like I call them opens, but like Elsa cones that you do, fouettes, turns. So basically you have to meet that minimum, but that's never going to be enough to make you a higher level competitive team, right? So you add a lot harder turns and leaps and all the things in. But think of jazz more as like, you can't have any kicks really. They even have a rule in the handbook that you can't have, I think it's more than 4 as a consecutive team because it's not high kick. Like it is leaping, turning, and just dancing to the music. Whereas with kick, you have a minimum amount of kicks you have to have that are above the waist as a team. And it's 36. We have 42 in our routine. So that have to be above that waist high. And again, not just above waist high. If you want to be competitive, it's got to be like, up against your face, because kick technique, kick height, that all gets judged by the judges as well. If it's average or above average or good. And I think kick more like sharp precision technique and kicking your face, where jazz is more turns and leaps and jumps, and both equally hard in their own right because they require so many different skills.
It's exciting, it's fun, and there's a ton of energy. If people haven't been, they should really experience it.
I would highly recommend that too. It was really neat. I had a girl on my dance team. I ran into her boyfriend's parents this weekend at Shields. They had never seen a dance meet and they had no idea what they were getting into. And they had to stop me and tell me, they're like, it was like a rock concert. Like it was just going and the music and what you guys do. And I think people, unless they come, they have no idea the athleticism it takes and just the music and the fun and what you can do there. So I highly encourage people to come out, especially the Saturday being it's in Hawley, to experience it.
Tremendous transition. Like you're a pro at doing these interviews too, Hannah. This is great stuff. So let's talk about Saturday. The section. Hawley gets to host a section 4 for the first time. And I heard a birdie that you get to host again next year. So this is what I hear. I'm just saying. And anyway, so what's the rundown? What can people expect on Saturday?
Sure. So teams competing are Aiken, Bagley, Crookston, Crosby, Ironton, DGF, Dilworth, Glendon, Felton, Frazee, Pelican Rapids, and Wadena, Deer Creek. And then obviously Hawley. But we will get there. All the teams will do mark times in the morning, but then doors open to the public at 10:45. And we'll do the national anthem and we'll have like the head coaches with the captains about 11:35, opening ceremony. And jazz competition begins at noon. Okay. So And then we have a hard start. Like, let's say you couldn't come to both or you just wanted to come to one. Kick competition starts at 1:30.
Okay. And then there'll be awards after.
Awards
for
about
those
35.
Okay.
Yep.
So for teams to advance from the section to state, how many will advance?
3 in each. So top 3 teams in jazz, top 3 teams in kick.
State is then held at Target Center, Minneapolis?
You got it. The best
Big
place
deal.
to be.
Big deal. I've been around dance long enough to know when it used to not be sanctioned in the state of Minnesota. And was in St. Cloud, and everybody could show up, and there was hundreds. And then Williams Arena hosted, if I remember right. And what a scenario to have it at Target Center. Big venue.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it fills. Like, we fill that Target Center, and the state experience is pretty amazing. When the team first went, this group of girls a couple of years ago, they had no idea what they were getting into. And now they're like, that is the greatest feeling in the world. And it is, because the venue, everything, it's just such an experience.
So last year's team to this year's team, I know there was some few that graduated, or is it pretty much everybody back?
Yeah, not many. We had 3 from high kick and 2 from jazz. This year, though, we have a lot. This is a core group. We have 6 girls who are seniors and then 1 manager. Who's a senior as well. So 5 of those girls dance varsity jazz and 6 of them dance high kick. So it's going to be hard. They're a very integral part of our team, and they're just great dancers all around, and they've been working for this since sophomore year. So it's a special time right now with them, and we're kind of all emotional because we know we're near the end, and we just want to give everything we have on Saturday to hopefully advance.
Well, Hannah, this has been a lot of fun talking dance. For those who can't make it Saturday, we will have it on yourliveevent.com. We had a great response from the first from Friday night last week, and the invitational. Well, a lot of fun for people who want to watch back. It's in the archives if you'd like to see that and see some of what to expect. Saturdays will be available too. So, but we want to fill the stands. Get there.
Yes. Come on out there, be loud, be proud, and see what it's all about.
Hannah Johnson is co-head coach of the Hawley dance team, and we're talking about the upcoming Section 4 dance meet that is happening in Hawley, the Hawley High School, on Saturday. And Hannah, thanks again for the time. I appreciate it very much. Enjoy the chat, and we'll do it again. Let's make this a regular thing. We're going to talk dance.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Coaches program here. It's the yourliveevent.com Coaches Show.
The Carrington Cardinals as they defeat the Devils Lake Firebirds. So head coach Andy Braaten joins us now on our post-game report. Thanks, Coach, for joining us here. And nice victory here tonight. Nice Region 2 victory for the Cardinals, right?
Yeah, it was. We know both teams like to get up and down. A lot of good players on both sides. And, if we were able to take care of the ball, we felt we could play with them. And, after halftime, we almost had the same score last time. So we told the girls, hey, let's go out and have a third quarter, and then let's go finish the job. And girls have a nice effort tonight.
Definitely a tale of two halves here. The first half, I had you down for 17 turnovers. The second half, only 6 or 7, I think it was.
Yeah. So. They probably had a few turnovers in the first half, too. So we were able to force the issue there. And like you said, to have 17 turnovers, and we had to do a lot of things right to have a 4-point lead. And, our defense is pretty solid throughout the night. And, we had some turnovers, but their press causes that.
The Cardinals coming in, I think I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players in the scoring column tonight for the Cardinals.
We continue to rotate them in, and even if they get 2 minutes, 5 minutes, they just give us your best for that, and try to rotate some matchups down the road. And but yeah, it's an exciting win, but we got to get back to work tomorrow, and we got EKM on Thursday.
Both teams probably pretty exhausted. Both teams press and play hardcore defense. So.
Absolutely, and both teams are deep. Justin runs a solid program. Those kids press hard. They work so hard for him, and but our kids had a night, and we'll enjoy it for 24 hours and back to work at practice tomorrow.
Okay, so you got EKM coming to town Thursday night, right?
Yes, sir. They're athletic. We've had that Class B rivalry with them for a number of years, and they'll be fired up. It's our senior night, so our seniors will get on the court, and we want to send our seniors a senior night win.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much for joining us, and nice job on
the win.
Rick.
Yep, thanks,
you bet. That's Coach Andy Braaten joining us on our post-game report.
On the Coaches Show this week, we were chatting Hillsboro-Central Valley boys basketball. Head coach Elliot Rotvold joining us. Coach, let's get right into it. Last night's contest, kind of a punch to the gut after a 4-game winning streak. Guys seeing a lot of momentum, facing a good Grafton squad. They get outshot and out-rebounded. Pretty hard to win games like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, they shot 60+% and from the field, 50+% from three. They didn't take a ton of threes, but they made eight out of 15 or something like that. So, and rebounding wise, we shot in the mid 30s again, and they had a lot more chances at defensive rebounds than we did. I think offensive rebounds, we out rebounded them on that side of the ball, but because we had more opportunities at offensive rebounds as well. But yeah, we kind of got out of our game a little bit. They got off to a good start, and then we just kind of started scrambling a little bit. We gambled quite a bit in the full court. We got some fouls into foul trouble, fouling guys 60, 70 feet from the basket where we didn't need to foul them. And then we're playing catch up the rest of the night, and it wasn't a lack of effort. It was just probably a lack of, just playing our game and playing smart. Effort was there. You got to play hard, you got to play together, but we kind of didn't play the smartest game in the world as far as that was concerned.
In a big game to leave on the table. Of course, every region game now is vastly important, and sitting at 1-3 in the region standings. But again, going back to that 4-game winning streak against no slouch teams, Lisbon, Oak Grove, Carrington getting a big region win as well, and of course Wahpeton, your 500th win, that was a big win as well. Your thoughts on where this team stands going into the last couple of weeks of the regular season?
Yeah, we felt like we kind of talked about January after the first Wahpeton game, and on New Year's Eve, we talked about, jumping into kind of the second phase of the season in January where sometimes it's a long January. You have a lot of games, a lot of practices, and you're really pushing through things, and you got to build in January if you're going to have a chance to, have a team that's going to compete once you get to February and March. So for us, I thought we showed a lot of improvement. We figured out a little bit about our identity, what we need to do. For the most part, in January, we played to that identity, and that's big for us. Defensively played really well, like I said, until last night when when we played, even last night against Grafton, when we played defense in the half court, we did a pretty good job against them. They got, they're three excellent players that they have, and Lillimo and Rice and Droog are tough to match up with, and you'll live with some fadeaways and things like that. But we just didn't keep them in front of us in the full court as much as we needed to. But in the other games that we played, even our losses against Fertile Beltrami and a good Thompson team as well, our defense was a constant there. I thought we played physical, tough. And offensively, we're starting to figure it out, not taking as many early threes and trying to get to the basket a little bit more. And we're still searching a little bit for some combinations of guys that, especially our bench guys. We've had some illness here in the last couple of weeks, and some other guys have stepped up. Some of those guys that were sick have to kind of work their way back into the lineup. So it's going to be, an important week for us here. Coming up, we got a game the day off today. We've kind of gone 9 days straight with practicing games here, so we had a long stretch, and give them a day off today, and then come back tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, and get ourselves ready for 3 games next week.
You mentioned that kind of day off today and the week between the Grafton game and, of course, the next game of the schedule, Mayport CG. Your priorities in the practices over the next week?
Yeah, it's when you jump into February here, there's a couple things that you got to do. Number one, we got to solidify, our roles as far as who's going to be coming off the bench and giving us the minutes, and who's going to be seeing more time on the floor. I think we may move Alex Duffner's seen a lot of time in games, but we may need to get him some more minutes, and he's been playing really well for us, and he's a guy that probably needs to see the floor a little bit more. Keithan Mueller's been playing well. Ben McRitchie's been sick for the last week, hasn't really practiced all week. So got to get him back into things. Same with Brody Rugness, same kind of thing, been sick and trying to come back. Archer Kritzberger as well. So we got 3 guys there that are kind of in the rotation that they kind of got to work their way back in. And then we've got, guys like Jaron Reed that are working hard and getting some minutes. And then we just need more consistent play. I think Tyson Leshek's been playing really well for us, figured out his game. He's taking it to the basket a lot harder. And Bryson Miller and Chase Hafley have played pretty well for us, but maybe a little inconsistent. We need a little bit more consistency out of those two on a nightly basis, especially on the offensive end. So, for us moving forward, it's going to be figuring that out a little bit. And then, when you're coming in tournament, trying to, you got to push your conditioning level to the next level, when you get into February and March. So we got to work on that a little bit, just kind of build towards that, end of February, early March, where you want to be playing well. We got a tough schedule here in February and one game in March. So we got 8 games here left. One against Devils Lake, one against Thompson, 2 against Four Winds, 1 against Grafton. Then we got, a couple of non-conference games against Valley City, Adabor West, and then Mayport CG next week.
In the week of preparation here, we've talked to this season a little bit about the identities more: get to the basket, use the size, get the rebounds, play good defense, and maybe an Achilles heel this season has been you haven't found that go-to shooter that can hit some outside shots when you need it. Is that going to continue to be a focus as we get close to the postseason, or are we kind of too late in the year for that?
No, I think we have the guys. Just a matter of when we take them. I think really probably 2 of our big guys are probably 2 of our better shooters in Alex and Keith. And they stepped up and hit some threes last night. And they're guys that can, and that's nice when you have big guys that can do that, because they can go in and post up, and when they set ball screens, they can pick and pop. They can bring bigger guys out from the perimeter. If they got a smaller guy on them, they can take them inside. So you've got to work on that a little bit, as far as giving them opportunities to get those shots. We need Chase to probably step up and knock some shots down. Jaron's been coming in and shooting the ball well. Tyson and Bryce are the 2 guys that they're not going to be great shooters for us. They need to be our slashers, our guys that get to the basket and dish for the other guys. And then Chase, of course, running the show. Brody, I think, coming off the bench can make some shots for us, Archer as well. So, we don't need to take 20, 25 threes a game. If we can take, 10, 12, 15 and make 4 or 5, we feel like that's going to be what we need to do. And, and that's tough. And I think in this day and age, a lot of teams are taking a lot of threes, but, I still think in high school basketball, if you can get to the basket and score, and get to the free throw line, you got a pretty good chance of winning. And, one thing that hurt us last night too is, Tyson and Bryce are 2 pretty good lockdown defenders, and Bryce getting in early foul trouble really hurt us a little bit, because we had to mix our matches on Lillimon a little bit, and he kind of took advantage of that a little bit. And I thought Tyson did a great job on Rice on the perimeter, made him work all night long, maybe got a little over aggressive sometimes, but I think defense is going to be our calling card, and then turning that defense into offense. We thought maybe coming into the year would be a little bit better offensive team, as far as just being able to score, and we've struggled on that end. So for us, it's probably games in the 50 to 60 point range for us. That seems to be where we're sitting. So defensively, we got to do that as well.
You mentioned the contest coming up, Mayport CG, kind of a nice little tune-up test for you before the 2 big games against Devils Lake and Four Winds. Four Winds you haven't met yet this season. Devils Lake you have. Going back to that Devils Lake game, what's a couple of things that you hope will be different this time around?
Well, Devils Lake's as good a team as there is in our division. I mean, I think there's a separation, with them and Kindred as far as the best teams in our division in the state. There's no question about that. They've got size, they've got shooters, they've got quickness, they got everything that you need to be a great team. And I thought the first time we played them, we played physical with them. We matched their physicality, which is hard to do because they're big, strong guys. For us, in order for us to probably beat them, they're probably going to have a little bit of an off shooting night from the perimeter. But defensively, if we can keep them in front of us like we did, we got to play physical and get on the boards as well. And then I'm guessing, they're getting a little more healthy. They got the other Palmer kid is back playing a little bit at the guard position. Nelson was out for a little bit. I think when we played him, that was his first game back from an ankle injury that he had early in the year. So they're getting healthy, and it looks like they're pressuring a little bit more on the in the half court and the full court. So we're gonna have to handle that that pressure and not turn the ball over. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job of that here recently. Did a pretty good job against Wahpeton, a team that presses a little bit. Even last night against Grafton, we didn't have a ton of turnovers, and they get up and play a good solid man-to-man defense as well. So Devils Lake's going to be a tough one. Then Four Winds is a similar team. They want to get up and pressure you, and so against them, same kind of thing. We got to be able to handle the pressure and try to turn it into a little bit more of a half-court game.
Coach, anything else you want to mention here on the Coaches Show this week?
No, I think it's, I feel pretty good about, where we're at here, 5-3 for games in January. If we can do that again in February with some really tough games, February and early March, we'll feel pretty good about where we're going, getting into the tournaments here. So just gotta push forward. We got some big region games coming up with a small region with only 6 teams. Every game matters. We got a big one against Carrington, which was a 2-point win for us, only playing them once. So now we just gotta find a few more of them against those 4 tough teams in our region. So if we can do that, we'll feel pretty good about where we're at going in the tournaments.
Hillsboro-Central Valley head boys basketball coach Elliot Rotvold joining us here on our Your Live Event Coaches Show this week. Again, you can check out Hillsboro-Central Valley boys basketball on Your Live Event. Coach, thanks for the time, and we'll see you down the road.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
There's more at 104. Hillsboro, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsboro and see why there's more at 104.
Parents can influence their child's behavioral health in a few simple ways. The first is really having ongoing conversation.
Role modeling positive behavior. Parenting starts at home, and those positive influences that a parent has rolls off on their children.
Sometimes just a simple question will get a child talking, and you might learn things about your child that you just didn't know about before. If you get to a difficult topic, that's where you can reach out to Parents Lead and look for some of that information that might help you navigate that difficult topic. And that's one of the benefits of Parents Lead.
Sharing our heritage, sharing our future. Choosing the right bank for your financial needs can be challenging with the many choices available. Dakota Heritage Bank is pleased you're interested in knowing more about what they can do for you. The Dakota Heritage Bank community bank setting is a strong advantage they have over larger, less personal banks. Customers are more than account numbers, they are friends and neighbors. Working together, Dakota Heritage Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
As we come back on our post-game show, brought to you in part by Tommy's Express Car Wash. Joining us here is Jason Brend with us, the head coach of the Thompson Tommies. Jason, we were talking off air, an 18-11 third-point quarter for Oak Grove. They led by 1 going into the 4th. Then, boom, you get a couple steals. Obviously, Andy Schwab was part of that with a couple of stealing scores. You got Sage going as well right off the bat. What did you just see from your team, or what did you challenge them in between that quarter break to kind of play the way they did in that first minute and a half of the 4th quarter?
Well, we actually talked about both sides of the ball. We talked about on defense where when we're a little bit further away from the basket, take some chances. And I thought Andy did a great job. She jumped some passing lanes, and, she anticipates so well that she did a great job of kind of jump-starting us. And honestly, that defense turned into offense for us, which was great. But, defensively, it's a situation where their big down there was so tough, and she controlled the paint so much that we wanted to try to put as much pressure up top as we could and try to get the rebounds and limit them getting the second and third chances. And on the offensive side of the ball, we've kind of have this thing where when we play too fast, when we rush shots, we kind of get ourselves into trouble, and we let teams back into games. And we talked at that third quarter at the end of it where we need to just run through some possessions, get things going. I understand if it's a kick out or reversal, if we got a quick 3, because we can shoot them pretty well, but it's got to be a situation where we're pretty confident. Otherwise, let's get some touches and get everybody involved.
We'll talk about a Kaya Herson moment in Sage, but how about Jordan Tozer? How about Jalen Ovdom having to play with, a Newman? I know he got into foul trouble early. She still finished with her season average about 16 points, 11 rebounds, getting loose balls in the second half, but how about about those two trying as best as they could, trying to contain, Haley on the opposite side for 4 quarters of basketball?
It's not easy to do. She's not only is she 6 feet tall, but she's a strong kid, and if she gets that block, she's going to score on you. So we were trying to beat her to the block and force her one step out, but she's a good player, and there's a reason she averages 16 a game, because she knows how to use her body and get herself in the shooting position. And I thought our girls did a pretty good job. We tried to get some digs in. I thought, again, Andy Schwab did a nice job of digging in there. Actually, all the girls did a pretty decent job. Early on, we tried to have Jordan Tozer sinking in and playing almost a double in a sense on her, and I forget number 13's name, but then she burned us a couple times on some threes when we were trying to do that. So that's just good basketball on their part as well. So I was pretty happy with our effort on the offensive side. Defense, we still got some work to do. And I'm not saying it's a polished product on the offensive side either, but it's a step in the right direction, and that's what we need to keep doing right now.
Yeah, number 13, Mari Balmy with those 2 threes in the third quarter of play. Going back to Kaya Hurst, 2 points away from 1,000. She finishes with 23 points. We had her down for 9 rebounds here tonight as well. Able to get those 2 free throws from the free throw line. Just what does that accomplishment mean here, Jason? I know you've been around some really good athletes, and Thompson able to achieve milestones in their personal career or break school records. But what is Kaya Hurst 1,000 points going to mean to you in her journey?
Kyle's just a great athlete. She's a situation where you watch her on the floor and even practice. She works 100% all the time, and that's what you try to teach all the kids. Just always go as hard as you can, and that's what Kaya does. There's times that she gets herself into trouble because she just goes so hard, but she's so strong, she sometimes finds her way out of it as well. But a kid like that, she's leading us in multiple categories. A lot of the intangibles with the rebounding, assists, steals, and all those things as well. So for her to get her 1,000 points, it means a lot. And I can tell you one thing, she's pretty proud of it herself, and she's proud of her teammates, because she understands that this is a team game, and she understands that without them, it's not going to happen. And, earlier in the season, she was right there celebrating with Addie Sage when she hit her 1,000th point. And tonight, there was a little role reversal. Addie was right there celebrating with her along with the rest of the team. So I'm very proud of her. I'm very proud of all of them. And it's quite the milestone. It's something that not a lot of people do. It just doesn't happen that often anymore. And in girls basketball, maybe a little bit more because girls play a little earlier, sometimes 8th graders, but, you still have to make a lot of baskets to get 1,000 points.
Sage and Hurst combined for 51. Sage in the fourth quarter, just erupted. She had 12 going into the quarter, finishes with 28. That's 16. She had 4 3-pointers and had a nice spin move in transition as well. Just when someone like that can get going, is that where you just say, hey, you got the green light even from the parking lot when Sage kind of gets going like that, Jason?
It is, and she plays off of her teammates well also. She understands that when Kaya's getting in the paint or when Jordan's getting in the paint or when Claire's hitting that, she knows that they're going to find her on kickouts. Teams are going to have to double in, and she's just a great shooter. Early in the game, she was missing some shots, and it's a situation where you don't get too frustrated because I was talking to Coach Hager on the bench, and we're both like, all right, she looks like she's locked in. She's going to be okay. Give her a couple extra shots here, and eventually we took her out for a second or two and just to kind of, all right, catch your breath. She went back in and just was on fire.
Last thing, you got a game with 4 wins. I'm going to walk in on Thursday. You split that with East Grand Forks before you travel to a top 5 ranked opponent in Carrington on February the 6th. What was one thing that you learned about your team in this game that we talked about in the pregame show? A non-region game, some things that you can maybe move different pieces around. I guess just what was the biggest thing you learned about your team to come back after a loss against Devils Lake to get back in the win column on the road here tonight, Jason?
Just the team. Just the team. Really, it comes down to that. We've talked this past couple days, I guess, since that last game about how when we have fun and we show some emotion, because if you watch us play, we kind of flatline it sometimes. We're not an emotional team, but when we show that and we get things rolling a little bit and we're smiling and having some fun, maybe pointing at one another, high-fiving here and there, we're a pretty good basketball team. So we need to keep doing that and keep working on that. I know it's not normal for everybody, not natural for everybody, but it's something that it reflects so much the team that we want that I think it gets everybody going, and it's a little contagious.
Hey, Jason, congratulations on the win. Best of luck moving forward throughout the season.
Great to see you, Chase.
That again, Jason Brend, the head coach on our Tommy's Express Car Wash postgame show. When we come back, we'll hear from Miss 1,000 point herself. That's Kaya Hurst.
On our Your Live event senior spotlights this week, we're chatting with Kennison Azure from Hatton-Northwood, girls basketball. She's also participated in volleyball and track and field there with Hatton-Northwood. And Kennison, thanks for joining us here on the senior spotlights. Again, as a senior, what does it mean for you to reach this point in your career and to look back on some of the things you've done?
It's awesome. I mean, I've been here for 6 years, so I know what's expected. I know the culture that we want to create for future people to come into, and it's one of the best programs I've been a part of, and it's led by a great coach. So I couldn't ask for anything better.
You're again having a really great season there for Hatton-Northwood girls basketball this year. Kind of walk me through how it's felt to get some of these wins and to be competitive this late in the year.
It's great. You know, our goal is to win games. You know, obviously every team wants to make it to the state tournament, but for us right now, we need to focus on the things to help us get there, and we need to come ready to work every day because our region and district is full of great teams, and it's going to be hard, but we're ready for the challenge.
Now, of course, basketball is your main sport. Take me back to Little Kennison and kind of your earliest memories of basketball.
I remember playing in the drive with my brother and my neighbors. My dad, too, he always coached me, even if it was just in the driveway. He's always been hard on me, but it's something I like to have because he knows I can do great things. So just watching basketball with him, too, has also been something we do together. But playing in the driveway really created my passion for the sport that I have.
What kind of things did you learn from your dad, your brother, who plays collegiately as well, your neighbors? What kinds of things did they teach you about basketball and other sports?
Just the hard work, you know, nothing's going to be given to you. You have to earn everything you work for. So just like knowing that what I have to do to become a great athlete is what I've really taken away from both of them.
And earlier this year, you committed to, or I should say, well, this year and this month, you committed to Concordia to play women's basketball. Kind of walk me through your thoughts on why you chose Concordia and Coach Sieben and the Coppers.
It just felt like a home. The players are great, and they're led by 4 great coaches also. So going from playing against Lori to now her being my coach is pretty cool. And it just, like I said, it's a home away from home, and I felt welcome as soon as I got there. So
some of your favorite moments, favorite memories, favorite games throughout your career at Hatton-Northwood.
Playing in the Betty is probably one of the best things that happened. But I think the things I remember the most are just the moments like the bus rides, the practices. Like I'm not going to remember how many games we won this year, how many games we won last year. I remember the moments that I spent with my teammates. So that's the biggest thing, is creating those relationships with those girls to help hopefully create lifelong friendships and stuff.
And now we've talked to before the interview here. You're a very particular person when it comes to pregame rituals, pregame routines, things you got to do. Kind of share with us what are some of those things?
It's not very complicated, but I always drink a Celsius during our JV game. I listen to a podcast or listen to music, and then I always go. Left sock or right sock, left sock, right ankle brace, right shoe, left ankle brace, left shoe. Nothing complicated, but it's just the same every game. So a little superstitious about that one.
Again, you talk about podcasts, music playlists, any particular artists, any particular podcasts you enjoy, podcast hosts you enjoy that, get you in the zone for the game?
Just something to get my mind in the right spot, something slower because I'm already nervous as is before a game. So just something to help calm my nerves a little bit more.
Absolutely. And goals, for the rest of your time here at Hatton-Northwood, both in basketball, track and field, any other sport you take part in here. What do you hope to accomplish? What type of inspiration do you hope to leave by the time you're done at Hatton-Northwood?
I just want to leave my mark, have kids look up to me more, or I know they already do, but I want them to know that you have to work hard for what you want to get in life. And so just leave my mark here and teach these kids how to do what they want to do. So
take us into time off the court, kind of some of your favorite classes, your favorite other clubs, things you're involved with at school, and things you like to do for fun when you're not playing.
I'm involved in like everything in school, like NHS, so National Honor Society, FCCLA, Source of Strength, all those types of things. And then on my free time, I just like to spend time with friends and family. Can never complain about a day at home. So.
And you mentioned you're going to Concordia, of course, for women's basketball, going there for college as well for, I believe, physical therapy. So science classes, you mentioned, are some of your favorites.
Yep. Physics and chemistry. Those are my strong suits. So.
Kennison, anybody else you want to thank for helping you get to this point in your career?
My parents and my family, they're the reason I'm in the position I am today. They have sacrificed so much time and effort for me. They pushed me to not only become a better basketball player, but like a better person. My brother also has been a huge help to me, a big role model in my life. He's the one I go to for advice about anything. He just really understands me. With him also playing college sports, he knows like how to help me when those times get tough. He knows how to calm me down. So having him by my side through it all is like the best thing I could ask for because he's truly my best friend. So, and then my grandma and grandpa, they travel every which direction to come watch not only me but my brother too. So never miss a game, and having them by my side every step of the way is just like the greatest blessing. So.
Kennison, Azure on our senior spotlights here in your live event from Hatton-Northwood. Again, the Thunder are doing pretty well this season. We'll see how they fare in the district tournaments and who knows, regional and state after that. Volleyball player, track and field as well, and future Concordia Cobber women's basketball player. Kennison, thanks for the time and best of luck in your future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That again is your LiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Thanks so much for tuning in every Wednesday night starting at 7 o'clock. And crazy to think we already have our first Coaches Show of the month of February next week, starting up on the 5th. The Your LiveEvent.com Coaches Show, as always, presented to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. I'm Chase Miller, and we'll see you next week as we turn the calendar to a little February frenzy, which means postseason for winter hoops, winter wrestling, hockey, and more is all around the corner across the Red River Valley here on your LiveEvent.com.